The world is divided into 4 spheres, each sphere divided among continents and nations. Nations are divided by borders and interests. These interests divide the news. We examine the impact of these divisions on people and power. This is Imaginary Minds. Welcome to the program. I'm your host, Chris Spanos. Coming up on the show, the left-wing Syriza party won a historic victory in Greek elections January 25th. The party is already implementing big changes. I'll speak with sociologist Kostas Panagiotakis about what it all means. But first, a look at how English media have reported on Latin America. The international press is getting excited about the prospects of a coup in Venezuela. As Telesur opinion columnist Joe Emmesberger points out, the international corporate press has generally ignored or downplayed the 2002 coup that attempted and failed to overthrow then-President Hugo Chavez. Emmesberger notes that since the recent plunge in oil prices, many foreign journalists were excited about the prospects of a coup while President Nicolas Maduro was recently out of the country. For example, the AP quoted David Smilde, saying, "It is not inconceivable that stakeholders, among which are the armed forces, would step in before Maduro drives the government into single digits of popularity." Emmesberger points out a number of other examples and observes that the international press is certainly doing all that it can to undemocratically force change in Venezuela.
Η νίκη μας είναι ταυτόχρονα και νίκη όλων των λαών της Ευρώπης που αγωνίζονται ενάντια στη λιτότητα που καταστρέφει το κοινό ευρωπαϊκό μας μέλλον.
Greece's left-wing Syriza party made European history Sunday, January 25th. The party took 149 seats out of a 300-seat parliament. The party's leader, Alexis Tsipras, was sworn in as the new prime minister the very next day. The process of creating a new cabinet has already begun. One of the major outstanding issues is what will happen with Greece's massive debt. Kostas Panagiotakis is a sociologist and economist. He teaches at City University, New York. He is author of Remaking Scarcity, From Capitalist Inefficiency to Economic Democracy. He joins me to discuss events in Greece. Hi, Costa. Welcome to Imaginary Lines.
Hi, Chris. It's good to be on your show.
First of all, can you explain what the atmosphere was like in Greece leading up to the elections and what Greeks may have been thinking and feeling in those moments leading to Syriza's victory?
Yeah, I think there was a growing level of anger against the previous government. Basically, things were becoming more and more unbearable for people. The combination of austerity cuts and higher taxes had alienated vast segments of the Greek population, even among the base of the conservatives.
A major plank in Syriza's platform is the renegotiation of Greece's massive debt. What are the next steps in the process of renegotiation? What is an optimal scenario?
There have been discussions in the past about trying to lighten the burden of the Greek debt, and some moves have already been made in terms of lengthening the maturity of much of the debt and reducing the interest rates. And there may be certainly steps in that direction. Syriza wants more than that. It doesn't want just to lengthen the maturity of the debt and reduce the interest rates, but it actually wants to basically have a haircut of the amount that is owed. And it also is asking for a European conference on the debt, on European debt, basically making the point that this is not just an issue of Greece with its European partners. This is a European-wide issue. So it remains to be seen whether this will be successful. Of course, there is a lot of resistance to this from European countries and especially Germany. The Greek debt, I mean, Greece is a small country and its debt is relatively limited, so Europe can certainly afford to, have a haircut of the Greek debt. But I think part of what they're afraid of is that if there is a haircut for the Greek debt, then you may have other countries like Italy, for example, or Spain, where the debt is much more significant, asking for the same thing. And this is something that Germany and other European countries in the north would want to avoid.
Looking at how other countries were able to manage their debt, Argentina defaulted on its debt, Ecuador was able to renegotiate its debt. How might these and other examples inform what is possible with the Greek debt?
The discussion of the relevance of the Latin American case has been discussed in Greece. It was discussed especially, I think, in the early stages of the Greek crisis. And there was a segment of the Greek left, for example, that saw Argentina as a positive example. But that's the segment of the left that favored basically a unilateral default on Greek debt and basically Greece being willing to exit the Eurozone. And this is not the official position of Syriza. Syriza does not want to exit the Eurozone and basically unilaterally default on the debt. It wants to change the European Union to try to move it away from the neoliberal sort of course that it has followed in the last few decades.
Thanks for joining me on Imaginary Lines, Costa.
It was my pleasure.
Around 250,000 users have joined a lawsuit against Facebook over allegations of intrusion into privacy by the NSA. An Austrian court agreed January 27th to consider a class action lawsuit against the social networking giant. Representatives of the plaintiff said in a statement, "The largest privacy class action in Europe is getting concrete." The responsible court in Vienna, Austria has scheduled the first hearing on April 9th. The first hearing will determine whether the case goes forward. If successful, total damages could top $15 million in US dollars. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has previously denied the allegations. He claimed Facebook has not willingly cooperated with NSA mass surveillance. That's it for today's Imaginary Lines. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Chris Spanos. Please join me next week.